Hey folks, welcome back to Forgotten Battles of WW2, where we uncover the hidden endings to some of history's most iconic war machines. Today we're asking the question everyone wonders about one of the most feared tanks ever built. What happened to the German Tiger tanks after the war ended? You've seen them in movies and games as unstoppable beasts, the heavy hitters that made Allied tankers sweat with their thick armor and devastating 88mm gun. But when Germany surrendered in May 1945, hundreds of these legends were left scattered across Europe, abandoned in fields, damaged on battlefields, or surrendered intact. The Allies, Americans, British, Soviets, raced to grab them, test them, and decide their fate. This is the story of how the mighty Tiger went from battlefield terror to scrap metal, museum pieces, and Cold War secrets, with shocking details on how most were deliberately destroyed and only a handful survived. Let's roll into the chaos of victory and see what really happened to Hitler's big cats. It all starts in those final days of the Reich. By spring 1945, around 1,800 Tigers, both Tiger I and the heavier King Tiger II, had been produced, but combat losses were massive, bombed, knocked out, or abandoned from breakdowns. When the unconditional surrender came on May 8th, surviving Tigers numbered in the low hundreds, parked in depots, hidden in forests, or left on roads as crews fled or gave up. Allied armies advancing from west and east found them everywhere. U.S. troops in the Ruhr pocket, British in northern Germany, Soviets pushing to Berlin. The race was on. These were the crown jewels of German engineering, and everyone wanted to study them before the others. Americans got some of the first intact ones from units surrendering to them, avoiding Soviet capture. British captured famous Tiger 131 in Tunisia back in 1943, but now grabbed more in Europe. Soviets seized dozens in the east, towing them back for analysis. Intelligence teams swarmed, measuring armor thickness, dissecting the interleaved wheels that caused so many headaches, firing captured guns at plates to see vulnerabilities. The Tiger's reputation preceded it. Frontal armor up to 100mm on Tiger I, 180mm on King Tiger Glacis, slope for extra protection, 88mm KWK-36 or 43 that outranged anything Allied at the time. But up close, flaws showed. Massive weight causing breakdowns, huge fuel consumption, complex transmission hard to maintain. Allies tested relentlessly. Americans at Aberdeen Proving Ground shot everything from 76mm to 90mm at captured Tigers, finding frontal impenetrable at range but sides weak, noting mobility issues in mud. British at Bobington ran Tiger 131 extensively, confirming reliability woes but praising gun accuracy. Soviets, brutal, fired their biggest guns like 122mm at close range, dissected engines, used some for propaganda films showing fascist junk broken. But here's the shocking part most don't know. Almost all captured Tigers were deliberately destroyed soon after. Why? Logistics nightmare. Too heavy for most bridges or trains, parts scarce, fuel guzzlers useless for occupation forces. Plus, denazification, no way to let potential German revival have them. Americans scrapped many for metal, used as range targets, blowing them up, or buried in landfills. British kept a few for study but dynamited others. Soviets melted down masses for steel, claiming no need for fascist toys. Environmental and safety concerns too, unexploded ammo risks. Only a handful survived. Tiger 131 at Bovington, running today, one in France at Semur, Soviet ones in Kubinka Museum, a King Tiger in Switzerland. Some wrecks recovered decades later from bogs or rivers, restored painstakingly. The Tiger's end was inglorious, from feared predator to scrap, symbolizing Nazi collapse. But legacy lived, influenced post-war designs, Cold War myths of supertank. Crews who surrendered often faced harsh treatment, some executed by SS for cowardice before Allies arrived. Tanks left with notes or booby traps occasionally. So, triumph or tragedy? Stick around for Chapter 2, where we dive into specific captures, like the Tunis tiger story. Recap US, UK, Soviet tests details, famous destructions, and the few that escaped the torch. One of the most famous individual tigers is number 131, captured in Tunisia, April 1943, but its post-war story sets the tone for survivors. British 48th Royal Tank Regiment knocks it out with Churchill gun, first intact tiger in Allied hands, shipped to England for exhaustive tests at Bobington. They drive it thousands miles, fire guns, analyze everything, confirming fearsome but flawed. Post-war, it becomes star exhibit, restored to running condition, only complete Tiger Eye operable today. Similar, Soviets capture several in 1944-45. One King Tiger from Ardennes offensive tested harshly in Kubinka, shot at with IS-2 guns, dissected for secrets influencing IS-3 and T-54 designs. Americans grab around 20, testing at Aberdeen. 90mm guns penetrate front at close range, but highlight mobility issues. Tiger bogged easy, transmission fragile. Reports conclude impressive but impractical, too complex for mass war. French get a few from German units surrendering to them, one at Saumur Museum. But majority, fate grim. U.S. Army orders systematic destruction, immobilized with charges and engines, turrets blown, hulls cut for scrap. Reasons practical: no use for occupation, too expensive maintain, fear of insurgency if left armed. British similar: scrap drives for rebuilding Europe need metal, tigers melted down. Soviets most ruthless: propaganda shows tigers crushed by T-34s or exploded, steel recycled for tractors, symbolizing fascist to peaceful. Some used as targets for new anti-tank weapons training. Rare exceptions: one tiger in the U.S. for display at Patton Museum, later moved. Swiss got a king tiger from Germans. Wrecks left in fields, rusted away or buried, some rediscovered 2000s by enthusiasts, restored, like Bobingtons from Tunisia. Cold War twist: both sides study tigers for heavy tank ideas. U.S. M103, Soviet IS series influenced by interleaved wheels or gun. But no operational use, too outdated, parts none. Crew fates varied: many POWs, some executed pre-surrender by own side, others integrated into post-war Germany. Tanks with personal markings or kill rings became trophies, photos of allies posing on them common. Destruction symbolic, end of the Panzer myth. Yet Tiger lived in culture, games, models, books exaggerating invincibility. Real post-war, quick, efficient erasure. Chapter 3 dives into biggest test programs, shocking destruction methods, lost tigers rediscovered, and why so few run today. The Allied test programs were fascinating and brutal, revealing tiger truths hidden in combat myths. U.S. at Aberdeen Proving Ground 1945-46, several tigers shipped, driven extensively on courses, mobility tested in mud showing bog downs from weight, fuel economy abysmal, 1 mpg off-road. Armor trials: 76mm HVAP penetrates sides easy, 90mm front at 500 yards, but glasses tough. Engine transmission dissected, noting complexity, 5 forward gears but hard shift. Report: excellent gun and armor, but over-engineered, unreliable. British similar at Bobington with 131, ran till parts wore, confirmed suspension dust trap, interleaved wheels nightmare clean. Gun accuracy superb, outranging Cromwell or Sherman. Soviets at Kubinka most aggressive, captured King Tiger shot with everything, 85mm no front pen, 122mm yes close, then cut open for blueprints influencing T-10 heavy. Some tigers used live fire targets for new rockets. Destruction methods shocking, explosives and turret ring blowing top off, thermite on engine melting internals, hulls torched or crushed by dozers. Many buried in mass graves, literally pits with dozens tanks pushed in, covered. Environmental later issue, leaking fuel or oil, contaminating, some dug up 1990s cleaned. Lost tigers rediscovered, One from a river in Poland, another bog in Russia, restored privately or museums. Today, only 7 to 8 tigers survive worldwide, one running, 131. King tigers fewer. Why so few? Deliberate policy, no revival risk, scrap needed. Cold War paranoia too, no intact to potential enemies. Yet tiger became icon. Overrepresented in media despite rarity, 1,800 versus 50,000 Shermans or T-34s. Post-war myths grew, one tiger worth 5 Shermans from propaganda, but reality balanced by breakdowns. Crew interviews rare but telling, pride in machine but frustration with reliability. Final chapter wraps legacy, modern restorations, why Tiger fascinates still, and forgotten stories of last tigers in 1945 chaos. The Tiger's legacy is complicated, feared symbol of German engineering peak, but also overcomplicated failure that drained resources. Post-war influenced NATO heavies like Conqueror or M103, Soviet T-10, but lessen reliability over raw power. Modern restorations amazing. Tiger 131 runs at Bobbington shows, drawing crowds, replicas built from parts. Private collectors recover wrecks, like Australian Museum won from a river. Documentaries, games like World of Tanks keep the myth alive, often exaggerating invincibility, ignoring breakdowns. Forgotten stories, last tigers in Berlin defense, crews fighting street by street, abandoned as fuel gone. Some scuttled by crews to avoid capture, others surrendered with white flags on barrels. In West, U.S. troops posed for photos on tigers, souvenirs taken like kill rings. Soviets paraded captured in Moscow, crushed under T-34s symbolically. The end undignified for such legend. Scrap, targets, buried. Yet fascination endures because Tiger represented peak tank terror, crews elite, feeling invincible till overwhelmed. Women in factories built many, ironic for man's weapon. Today, museums preserve as warnings and wonders. The Tiger didn't win war, but won imagination. Germans laughed no more at end. Allies ensured no comeback. This forgotten aftermath shows victors write history, machines too. What shocks most? Quick destruction or lasting myth? Comment your favorite Tiger story or survivor. Like if this changed view. Subscribe for more post-war fates and WW2 endings. Thanks for watching Forgotten Battles of WW2. Next, another legend's final chapter. Peace out.